Welcome back to all our friends, family, and yes, even our foes. To the Foxx Den Sports Podcast, where Todd and his sports-passionate kids are ready to bring you the latest updates and insights on all things sports. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Foxx Den Sports Podcast. My name is Todd Foxx, and along with two of my enthusiastic sons, Kellen and Gannon, we are all the Foxx Den Sports Podcast. We want to express our enthusiasm for what we've got coming on today. We've got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We want to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder's playoff victory, the Oklahoma Sooners. We got some recruiting news and information there. Very quick touch. I will do a pretty quick touch, I think, on the NFL draft and maybe throw a few questions out there to the guys. But so how things going? How's you got how many more weeks left of school?
2.5, basically.
2.5? All right. Very good. Then you'll be off to San Antonio for all summer, basically?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you bet. You better call me sir. So, Kellen, what's happening in Hot Atlanta? Have you ever heard anybody call it Hot Atlanta?
Not anybody that lives here, but yeah. Chilling, surviving. Not a whole lot going on right now.
The Cardinals are in town. That's pretty good for you.
Yeah,
pretty good
for to go, but Taylor couldn't get off work, but I wanted to go either today or tomorrow. But
go tomorrow. I may fly in there and watch it too. All right, so here's what I want to talk about: the game one complete route. Oklahoma City Thunder's 131-80 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies in the game one of the Western playoffs. So let's hear it. What are your all's initial thoughts on that commanding victory over the Grizzlies?
I mean, we really from the jump, really pretty quick separation. Really never let off. It's crazy what we did without Shea. Shea playing one of the worst games I've seen him play.
Yeah.
In a while. First time since like October, he put up less than 20 points or something like that, and he really didn't shoot well at all. Hopefully he's not hurt. Hopefully he was just trying to get into rhythm, but we didn't need him to this game, so it's nice to see that our team can step up. Defensively, we just went just crazy. I know they were saying like it was like Memphis scored 20 points the first quarter, and they said that was the lowest quarter they'd had all year or something like that. Wow. And the next quarter we allowed 16. So it was like I turned the game on, and it was – I can't remember what we had, but it was something to 20, and they put up 2 points. And, like, that's when I texted you guys. I was like, I've been watching for, like, probably 30 minutes that Memphis had scored 2 points. And I was – of course, within 2 minutes of me seeing that, they knocked out 8. But still only allowed 16 that quarter. Like, defensively, we just went crazy. And offensively, other than Shea, we went really well. So if we could come out there with that energy every day and just that – everybody's clicking and doing what we need to do. Hartenstein starting 7 for 7 and all stuff like that. Like if we got that going, it's going to be hard to stop us.
Sure.
Yeah. And you could tell the first 6 minutes we were pretty rusty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I was writing down notes as the game went on, little things that I noticed. And first 6 minutes, I wrote down 13-9 Oklahoma City. And I was watching it by myself because I didn't want to watch it with other people. You know how it gets. Yeah, I yelling at the TV, getting hype, and they didn't really know what's going on. I was like, I wanted to watch this on my own.
Yeah. And
I wrote down 13-9, and I said to myself, I was out loud. I go, I don't think it'll be much closer than this the rest of the game. 4-point lead, and it was a 4-point lead within like the high teens. After that, it was. I wish there was like a graph I could look at because it was after that it was not even close. We blew the doors open and it was unreal. And there's multiple, and I only took notes the first half because the second half there didn't even need to be. And we just continued the dominance. But like there's a couple just kind of like key plays. And also I thought it was a like very funny, like almost like poetic irony because the entire agenda or I guess narrative against us having a chance is that Shea will do his thing, but that his supporting cast will fail him, which I have my, concerns with. So I'm not acting like it's impossible, but I just thought it was funny that he had probably his worst game of the season shooting wise.
Yes.
And the rest of the team had an unreal game. Like the hustle you saw on defense was unreal. There was multiple possessions where they would have a good pass to the open man. Within a half second, he was covered. The guy in the corner that got left open from that, another guy came streaking over to guard him. Like our closeout and transition and like switching defense was unreal. And in the playoffs, if you don't get better, you get worse on both ends of the floor. And I was fascinated at somehow. Well, basically, like our transition, our switch, our closeout defense, all of it was phenomenal. And if in the playoffs, if you don't get better in whatever realm, you get worse. Like you have to step it up. And I was impressed incredibly at somehow our defense getting better against a team who their select five is one of the best like 5-man lineups in the NBA, statistically at least. And it was unbelievable at how we were handling every aspect. You could tell they didn't know how to respond. And I also love how I texted this because we were texting back and forth throughout the first couple quarters. Like you could see Shea was like, after we had an unreal stretch, like a few back-to-back key plays, he was kind of like, he was doing this, like holding his hands out, helping us stay steady, because he's a big advocate for like, and they've said this, which I love from last year even, they were like, one of our main things that help us stay on track is to not get too high during the highs and not get too lows during the lows. And yesterday was the best excuse ever to get higher than you've ever been before from a single game. And even then, throughout our responses in the post game and our reactions in the middle of the game, you could tell we were up by 40 and we were like, okay, this is good. Let's maintain it. The game ends. We win by 51. Our starters didn't play more than 30 minutes. And even then they were like, next game starts 0-0. There's no reason to get too ahead of it. They had some a reality check of their own to be like, they came off a really emotional game and they were a little more tired than we were. Game 2 is going to be completely different. You had multiple people saying that. So one of the announcers said at one point, and I loved what he said. He was like, or it's just a different game even, actually. It was the Rockets game last night. And he was like, in the playoffs, a team kind of takes the personality of their head coach. And he's like, you can see it in the Rockets, like real aggressive, down and dirty, like nitty gritty. And you can see that with us though, too. And I couldn't be happier with any other coach because he gets the job done. You're not going to see a bunch of showboatiness or whatever. Like they're not going to brag about it. They're not going to do these inappropriate celebrations. They're not going to do anything crazy. The game ends. They know they had a great game 1. They recognize that game 2 is going to be different, and they're already moving on. And they asked us before the game, like you guys probably saw somebody asking Shea. They were like, Draymond Green had to say this about you guys, how nobody fears you in the league. Like what's your response? And he was just like, I have no response. There's no reason to.
It doesn't matter.
Our job is to win.
We win.
Yes. And Chet had a similar response when after game 1, somebody, maybe it was TNT, whoever the program, they were like, something about narratives. And he was just like, our job isn't to make those narratives. That's your guys' jobs. Our job is to win. I loved that response. And you're seeing those responses from every single player, whether they played 30 minutes, 5 minutes, whether they had 30 points or 5 points, no matter what it was, every player on this team is on the same page. And you know what that page is winning. And I've never seen a playoff game with that big of a difference in skill, execution, and passion. We blew them out of the water in every level of the game. And I was over the moon. Like there's multiple times I was just running around my room, just like screaming because we just had an incredible play. And I'm almost wrapped up here, but there's these certain plays. And I was talking to even one of my professors about this because he doesn't think we can go all the way for fair reasons. I was having a good time talking about it. And I was like, no other team in the league has these plays on both ends of the floor that bounce off of each other that create momentum within seconds. I haven't seen momentum be created like this since the 2016 Warriors. Because and a key to that is if Chet is healthy and rested. And you could tell he was healthy, he was rested, and he wanted to play last night or yesterday. And because there's multiple, like he had a couple of incredible defensive possessions, and he got a little bit ambitious on the offensive end, and it was kind of funny. But like after those big plays, but we'll have this incredible defensive possession that leads straight to an incredible offensive possession.
Right.
And within 30 seconds, we put up 7-8 points, and there's nothing that looks like it can stop us in that moment. And that's those things that come into play in the big games. And yesterday, even though we beat them by 51, it was a big game. Even though I think the worst team will play all this playoffs, it's still a big game. So even though I'm not acting like this is the finals, it's important to still play like it is. You know what I mean? And we did. And basically all my notes are just like the defense was unreal. Wallace had that dunk that was just electric. That Jalen Williams, or this also play whenever Dort slipped, got up, contested the shot. Williams hit that floater. Unreal. The most electric play was that Jalen Williams one-hand alley-oop, just monster slam over, I can't remember who it was.
I felt like the game was over at that point.
I felt like it was over, and it reminded me of that, that clip we always see of Westbrook against the Lakers. He nails that dunk, gets fouled. The crowd's going just berserk. Right when that happened, I was like, dude, that's a moment we're going to look back on and be like, wow, like that was special. Like he hammered that thing. And
I thought of Westbrook when I saw that dunk.
I did too.
How
and like
hyped he was, and it was just like,
yeah, even from like a narrative perspective of like, he's the second star on the team, young team, crowd is electric, like doubts, concerns coming into this postseason, and only game one. You don't need to get too high, but I mean, holy smokes, it was like, what a way to come out. Yeah. I was very happy. And like I said, the things that I saw between the like humility of like, game two will be different. They're a good team, but also the recognition of like, yeah, we smoked them. You could tell they knew that. And you could tell they had confidence from the start off.
I just heard you say you smoked them. We smoked them.
Yeah, you could tell they had some confidence with that, and that's good. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the playoffs just off of that first game,
Well, yeah, that's what I liked about it is the fact that I feel like we set a tone. Because I'm not going to lie, last week, listening, I was myself and Clay were both kind of like, well, that layoff, we don't want it to hurt the Thunder. And we did say, we need them to come out here on fire, and they did. And I feel like they set the tone. Now, I've seen this happen a lot of times to where a team blows them out the first game, and then that game number two is a lot tighter. But we'll see. What were we going to say, Kellen?
I was just going to say, like Gannon said, those first 6 minutes, you could tell it felt like there was a little rust. And for those first 6 minutes, I was like, and I had just pretty much got on at that point. But when I saw like the stats and our shooting percentage, I was like, man, we're a little rusty. But then as soon as then it just after that did not look rusty at all. It just took a couple minutes to get back into it. It was beautiful.
And one thing that I have confidence in too is you're like about game two, you're right. It's going to be a different game. Yeah. And also like when we get to that next series, when we get to the finals, if we do like those games are going to be hard. We're going to go down at 12 points at some point. You know what I mean? But what makes me happy is like how they've said, like I said, since last year, like we try not to get too highs when it's a good time, but we also try not to get too low. And so we're pretty steady throughout. So if we go down by 12 to the Celtics in the finals, big stage to go down 12, I have confidence that we're still going to be okay. You know what I mean? Because even just watching other games, some of those teams got way too high and loosey-goosey. Like you even saw Morant laughing on the bench down by 50. Like that doesn't make any sense. You don't want your star player doing that. So does that make sense? So even when we were high, I loved it. What were you saying, Kellen?
I feel like he was just trying really hard to look confident and look like we're not worried. Well, because he did say we'll never play that bad again, and we can't count on them to play that bad again. But I even did doing the math. I was like, if Desmond Bane and Ja Morant both shot 75%, we still would have beat them. That's how bad we beat them.
Yeah. And he airballed that three early on, and he was telling the crowd to bring on. And I texted some of my friends that we were talking about it anyways. I was like, he has no idea what he's talking about. And after that is probably when we went on like 100-12 run. What'd you say?
He's not a good 3-point shooter, so I don't know.
No, he's barely 30%. So no,
don't do that.
He was all like getting cocky, and I was like, by all means, I would love that.
Get our team
What
fired up.
players-
Give us an excuse.
What players stood out to you in this game? A couple of them, would you say? And like basically kind of what impact did they have? I just know real quick, Holmgren had 19 points. He had 10 rebounds, 2 block shots. He had J. Dub, who had 20 points. He had 6 assists. He had 5 rebounds. Hartenstein, 14, and he had a bunch early on, really early.
Yeah.
Shea had probably his worst game of the season, 15 points, 4 out of 13 shooting, 1 for 7 from 3-point. But, Hartenstein, he was going off early on. And the thing is about these guys, so listen to this. You mentioned a minute ago. Chet had 21 minutes, J-Dub 26, Hartenstein 21, Shea 23, Dort 22. And that's crazy right there. As a team, we shot 35% from 3, as Memphis shot 17.6. And we had, let's see here, total 54 rebounds to 43 for Memphis, 37 assists to 18 for Memphis. And then we had 12 steals. They had 7. We had 8 blocks. They had 4. And we only had 15 turnovers, I say only, and they had 22. So, again, what a couple of different players do you think really showed it to you? You're impressed with, maybe?
It's hard not to say all of them.
I know. I think J-Dub needed a big game because I know people were busting chops last year.
I was about to say it's got to be him because my concerns are more like they rise more against like top teams, really, really good teams.
Sure.
But even this series, like he didn't have the best series against the Pelicans last year. Honestly, Giddey won us a couple of those games, which was funny because Shea he had a couple rough fourth quarters. So even though this isn't like the best team, he came out and showed exactly what he can do, and that was perfect. Like, he was controlling that game on both ends. He would hustle on defense and still be the main guy on offense. So, like I said, even though this isn't the number one stage I'm looking to see him on, it was the stage he was on, and he impressed exactly like he was supposed to. He played exactly how he was supposed to and dominated. So even though the entire team in their own way, I would say him for sure, because you could probably listen back to a few weeks ago. I had some heavy doubts on him. And man, that was one of the best games I've probably ever seen of him. Even if it statistically doesn't look like it, whatever you might say.
Just a complete game.
Yes, complete game, playoffs, and he just dominated, man.
Kellen, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's hard for me not to be like Gannon to say everybody outside of Shea, like on the offensive standpoint, but like Hartenstein going 7 for 7. He only shot 8 times. He went 7 for 7, missed 1, never shot again. And I feel I could be wrong. I feel like he might have taken all those shots in the first half, if not early in the third, because I fell asleep after a while because it was like it was so crazy. But to me, the 3 players that I like stood out that I want to shout out was like Jay Will played 19 minutes, only shot 5 times, 9 points. Played like just did great, did what he needed to do.
He played hard.
Cason Wallace only shot once, and it was that dunk. But his stats aren't going to show up. It was defensive, but he did have 3 assists in his 13 minutes. The stats and the impact he made won't show up on the box score. But also, Caruso didn't shoot once, 12 minutes, 4 assists, but like again, defensive energy. Like our guys come in there, they'll shoot if they need to, and they can shoot.
Yeah.
But like they know the mission, and they're not trying to do too much. They're playing the role they need to play for the game. And I think those guys make a bigger impact than what people realize. Even with 12 minutes, Caruso coming in, giving Dort a break, and just like smothering whoever he's covering. Like, just massive appreciation for that dude.
There was this sequence because at 10 minutes 50 in the second quarter is whenever Cason had that dunk. And then about 9:30 or so, there's this play where we were like moving the ball around. Ball got to Caruso in the left corner. He just swung it to Wiggins for a wide open elbow 3. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it's the very next possession, 8 minutes, 45 seconds. The same exact, just mirrored play. Just Caruso left corner, swung it to Wiggins. So like you're saying, even though stats may not do it crazy, justice, the impact they played incredible, and the impact they had. And that's what I love about this team, man, is like they don't need those crazy stats. You know, people will like, oh, we should trade for this guy or this guy. The reason I don't want to trade for a lot of people who are very good at basketball is they don't hustle. And these guys, Kaysen didn't care if he had 1 shot and 2 points or 20 shots and 10 points. He was hustling the same exact amount. And that's what I love.
His one shot, like, just electrified us for the rest of the game. Like, I feel like that's awesome. I feel like that set the tone for the rest of the game. Like, nobody cares about their stats. It's they want to win. We all have the same mission. And like if we win it all, like, yeah, we got Shea, we got Jada, we got Chet, but like each and every player on
they're all getting that ring,
make an impact. And like they all, like, you just don't. It's not something you see every day.
And it's cool because I'll say one last note.
Good.
There's this game, and then there's going to be some game throughout the playoffs that everybody plays really bad, I'm sure. But Shea steps up, and he's going to win us that game. And it's going to be hilarious just to see how it flips. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, he'll have to – because yesterday he didn't have to drop 40. He didn't even have to drop 20. But there's going to be a game we need 45 from him, and he's going to figure out how to do it, and it's going to be majestic. So I just love it. I just love it.
Kellen mentioned, Kaysen Wallace setting the tone. So I got 2 questions. How does this victory set the tone for the playoffs for the Thunder? Number one. And number 2, what do the Grizzlies what kind of adjustments do they need to make heading into game 2?
I mean, I think it sets the tone because we hustled 48 minutes. By 40, we were hustling. There's nothing better you can do in NBA basketball than hustle. And we stayed steady. So it sets the tone by hustling and staying steady. All you have to do after that is just hit your shots. And we're not going to be shooting as hot as we did every game, like last night, yesterday. But we will hit those shots. And there's no other team like Boston, number 2 seed against, I'm blanking, Orlando.
Yeah.
Correct. Way better team. Way better, like, balanced, better coaching. Did not blow them out of the water. So even though this isn't the biggest game, might as well treat it like it's the game we're playing because it's the game we're playing. And we smoked them. And every other team in the league is looking at us like, like, we didn't beat our team by 51. You know what I mean? Or like, oh shoot, we didn't even beat our team. Like, there's some notice that's being taken, and whether they do or don't, that's cool. Because like our team says, like, we won.
I wanted us to pour it on and get 74. I know.
I did too.
That's what I
did too.
Yeah, but early on you said, I want to beat them by 50, and I was like, no shot. And then
I did see it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to find a way to play better defense, but they've also, because they have to shoot better. We shot 50%. They shot 34%. We shot a higher percentage from 3 than they did from like anywhere.
Yeah.
And they made 6 threes all game out of 34 shots, 17.6%. So like, they have to shoot better, but also they still allowed 131. And I understand a lot of that's transition defense or transition points that we get because we're great at that. And rebounding, we had 54 to their 43. So not that major difference, but like,
look at the assists though.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say that too. I know it's not every day a team comes out and gets 37 assists, but like having 18, you can't have be doubled in assists no matter how high the other team does. Like, you got to at least hit 25. And that doesn't sound like a big difference, but like, that's a big difference on our team is our ball movement and our unselfishness.
And we had plus 22 fast break points. You mentioned that already, but 22 is a crazy number.
Yeah. So like, they have to make I do think it starts offensively because I think that allows less transition points and less momentum for us, but they're going to have to play some better defense. I mean, because I don't even think they played Shea in that well. I think he just was having an off game. Like, I don't think they did anything.
I agree. He had plenty of shots that he just missed.
Yeah, there's plenty. Yeah. A lot of those shots he should have made. So I'm not going to say I think it was just mostly him, and he will. But like, I don't know. We could have beat him a lot worse if he shot 1 for 7 from 3. If he goes 4 for 7, we win by 60. Like,
yeah, and also I was about to say that because he shot 1 for 7 from 3 in only 13 times. He still shot 3 for 6 inside the arc. Like, it was just his 3-point shooting, and I'm happy that he tried to force it up because we'll need that in those different games.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot they got to do, but it starts with just scoring, like no wasted possessions on their end. But we know that they can do that. We've seen Desmond Bain go crazy.
Oh, yeah. They'll have a really good game between the series at some point. I don't think it'll go more than 4, though.
And then one crazy stat.
Is that what you're saying?
What's that?
Are you saying you think we sweep them?
Yeah.
I hope so. We shall see.
Even during their high game and we have a low game,
I hope we do, but I wouldn't mind seeing a 5, so we, do it in front
win
of
it at home.
crowd.
For sure.
Nope, I don't want to see it.
But the more rest, the better.
I'm going to go 16-0 in the playoffs.
Man, let's do it.
Has any team ever done that?
What's that? Nah,
Sorry.
No way.
To look it up. I don't know the answer.
No way.
Let me ask you this though: in a game like this, I know we got one more question I got after this one, and then we'll move on. Winning by 51, kind of boring. Do you like it like that, or would you rather?
I love it.
Have a closer game.
I love it. I don't care. Hey, regular season.
I love a good
game
that we win, but like for those 48 minutes, if it's close, I'm sitting there sweating like crazy. Every shot they make, I'm like momentum shift. And also, I don't know. I know this will never happen, but obviously I don't expect to win every game by 50. But if we came out and just dominated the entire playoffs, it's just like all the doubters. It's like, okay, everything we did in the regular season,
you can't say a thing.
We're still doing. You can't say anything else. And dare I say that would make us the best team of all time. But
yeah, good point.
I don't know.
And we already had a top 5 regular season.
I still think we're a top 3
even
team of all time right now.
Behind the Warriors and Bulls, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but
yeah. Regular season for sure.
I'd make the case for being even better.
So one stat I was going to tell you, kind of crazy stat I heard the other day. Had the Thunder lost the games that they didn't win by double digit, they still would have finished first in the Western Conference. And they would have finished behind, I think, Boston and Cleveland.
Cleveland overall, yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's crazy. That's a crazy, crazy stat right there, if you ask me.
I love it.
All right, guys. Let's talk some Oklahoma Sooners. We had crazy incident happen on Friday. David Stone, the 5-star defensive tackle, put in his name into the transfer portal. And then on Sunday, he decided to remain with the Sooners. A lot of speculation out there, a lot of people talking, a lot of people saying, hey, wait, let's wait up and see because OU still got a chance in this thing. Then you had some fans, which you're going to have those kind of fans, get upset and, rip on him, rip on the young kid and all that things like that. However, what do you think? I know there's a lot of different things out there. What do you think influenced his decision to stay at Oklahoma?
I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if there was some restructuring on money, but I mean, if I was a defensive player and I wanted growth and guidance, and I would want to play for Venables. If I saw what our defense looked like the last 2 years, and even if you're wanting to win a championship, it's like if the offense can catch up to the defense, it's highly possible. But if you want a good career and to be noticed, I don't know, I would play for Venables as a defensive player. So I would not be surprised if that played into it.
And I would say, too, I mean, from what we're hearing after the fact, which we probably wouldn't have believed it right whenever we heard that his name was going in it anyways. But, I mean, he wanted to stay, and it stinks that, you have to, or he did that, and then he realized he wanted to stay. He entered, and then he realized he wanted to stay. But he realized it at some point after doing that, and like Kellen said, between, I'm sure, multiple restructures, he realized that he needed to stay, you know what I mean? So it's becoming clearer that he was not doing out of ill intent or a desire to go somewhere else. Right. He wanted to stay. It felt like, I'm sure there was things stacked up against him and that was the only choice until obviously, of course, it wasn't. But
right.
What are your thoughts?
From what I heard several different, you start putting it all together and kind of, it makes sense. But of course, again, we're not David Stone, so we don't know. He got an $800,000 NIL deal last year, and it got cut in January before our new general manager Nagy came on board. It got cut in January, and he agreed to it. Somewhere around $400,000 to $450,000 a year, more incentive based, which is good from the fact that you got a player who played 94 snaps last year for us. But he's got a whole lot of upside, incredible upside. But he's still behind Jaden Jackson and Dominic Williams at the tackle position on the defensive side. But he's got a lot of upside. I think this will be Williams' last year with us, so he can play obviously a little bit more next year after this season. But I'm concerned about this season. However, he had a lot of family members he was trying to take care of. that were kind of, really, I don't want to say pressuring him, but, letting him know, hey, you can make more money. To leave Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to leave Oklahoma. And he had like Venables at his house. He had Jaden Jackson, some of these players at his, I don't know, his house or his apartment or whatever it is on campus, whatever. And he didn't want to leave. And he was really upset about it. And he made the decision. He was going to stick to it and he was going to come back. And I agree with a lot of that. I agree with probably all of it, to be honest with you. I don't know 100%, but I think it's a big deal. I think the significance of his presence for the Sooners moving forward is it gives us more depth, gives us a 5-star kid. Because let's be realistic, if he was a 4-star kid, a 3-star kid, and he decided to do that, a whole lot, I don't think you would hear near as much about it. But since he's a 5-star kid, David Stone is huge for us. I think the implications for Oklahoma recruiting strategy after this news is him staying is huge. You got a lot of folks coming in this week for transfer portal opportunities, and being able to have him on board helps strengthen that defensive line. You can rest some of these players. I think it's going to be huge for us. I'm excited. Anything else about Stone from you guys?
I'm also excited, and I haven't read much of what I guess the overall fans are saying. Are they mad and being all rude, or are they pretty just happy that he's back?
Some of them. Most people are happy. Yeah. I mean, most,
okay.
Again, very minimal is what I saw, but those upset ones are very loud and put off on social media, their thoughts on it. And they don't know, like I don't know. I was frustrated at first, but I also heard that we were trying to keep him. To be quite honest with you, I thought, well, why would he leave? Why would he get out of the transfer portal if we're trying to keep him? So I wasn't expecting him to come back, but he did. And I think it's great. To go along with the fact that we got the top running back in the transfer portal, Jaden Ott from University of California. He ran for 800 yards as a true freshman back in 2022. 2023, he eclipsed 1,300 yards for California. But last season, he did suffer an ankle injury in the opener and tried to play through it all season. His numbers took a significant decline. He was never truly healthy. He's got one more year left for the Sooners. I know maybe we talked about it last week. I don't remember, but I know we have, Javon, what is it, Barnes? We have who else? Who else do we have? Taylor Tatum there as well. So it's going to be. It seems like a backfield that's got quite a few people. But I mean, obviously, you guys have seen what happens in the receivers last year, so you got to make sure you have a significant amount of running backs as well, just in case. So I don't know what your thoughts are. If you guys have any thoughts on getting the number one, because we got the number one quarterback in the portal. Now we got the number one, which was obviously in the fall or wintertime, whenever that first started. And now we've got the top running back.
That's why did you find it?
Yeah. BYU wide receiver Keelan Marion is going to be one of our top targets, which would be great if we could land him. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I really hope that their play influences how highly they were ranked and whatnot, instead of how highly they were ranked and influence how they play. Just because I do get tired of, highly ranked players. And I don't know if that messes with their head. I don't know why, but sometimes they just don't perform. And that happens in pros too. But I would just love to see them actually play like that anticipated 5-star, 4-star. Because
I agree.
We've been a little bamboozled.
Oh yeah.
And big roles on our team who have big names, big money, whatever you want to say, coming in and just not really performing to the max.
Our best quarterbacks have guys have been 3 stars, 3 and 4 maybe,
and
but
some
not
of our
5 stars. Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying those 5 stars are often the biggest disappointments. So I would just love to see, like I said, their play influence their ranks instead of the other way around. And what I was going to say a second ago too is it's if people are frustrated about the Stone stuff, like I think it's fair.
Yeah. But
I guarantee you he'll have some kind of big sack throughout the season, and you're not going to care.
Those guys are going to be the
it's
loudest.
It's not going to matter.
Yelling,
Oh yeah, and just wait for. I'd just say just be patient.
Definitely be patient. Kellen, you got anything to add?
No, I'm excited though. I think we've made some good improvements, so we'll see what this year looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it. Real quick, I know neither of you are really hot on this topic, but I will do a little bit of talking because I can't go a podcast without talking about the NFL draft that's coming up. I know coming up on Thursday. As a Dallas Cowboy fan that I am, and I've talked to you guys about it before, I would love to not be a Dallas Cowboy fan, but I can't stop. And I guess I don't expect myself to stop, but it's just been frustrating. Here's, in my opinion, some potential maybe strategies or what they need. I know they got the 12th pick in the first round is what we'll see. Here's what I believe they need. They need a wide receiver number 2 opposite of CeeDee Lamb, or they need a running back at some point. They need a cornerback, and they need an interior offensive lineman to replace Zach Martin, who retired. Looking through a lot of mock drafts and things of that nature, the names I see quite a bit are a more wide receiver, with Matthew Golden from Texas, the McMillan kid from Arizona, and Mika Ugabuka from Ohio State. There's also talk about the kid from, what's the running back from? My mind just went blank.
Boise?
Yeah.
Ginty?
How do you say his name?
Ashton Ginty.
So it could be Ashton Ginty from Boise State. We'll see. I just want to know, I know you guys aren't really watching the Dallas Cowboys. Kellen's a Colts fan. Gannon's more loves Thunder and OU. Would you do a first-round draft pick on a guy that's going to be your number 2 wide receiver? I think that's kind of me opinion. I think you would want to trade back maybe and acquire more picks, because I just don't know if I would pick a number 2 receiver at number 12. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. It's kind of high to me.
It just depends on what your plan is with the quarterback, because it's like you feel like you're wasting it with Dak, but if you have any plans of trying to move on from him in a couple of years, like you can make a good push in free agency if somebody's like, oh, I'm going to CD. Like CD's my number 1, and I got a good number 2. So it's hard to say. I feel like they need to focus on defensively, because who knows how much longer you have part.
It is pretty high. I think it all just matters on how much confidence you got in the guy you're drafting then. Because,
true.
I mean, if he's pretty stellar and a pretty stellar number 2, you would have – you could argue for the best, receiving core right out the gate. So I'd say it is high overall, like at the median.
But it is one of their needs.
If you have some confidence – it is one of their needs. And if you have some confidence that he could be like a pretty big second option star, then it does seem pretty high, though. You're right.
All right. So then I've got one final question for you as we wrap up. What I'd like to hear is about what has been your most favorite memorable vacation as a family that we took. Which one was your favorite?
It's hard to say the top one. I can say a few of them, a couple of them.
Say the couple and then narrow it to one.
Well, I guess I might be biased on one of them now that I think about it. I'll say my top 3. Canton, Ohio trip.
Ooh.
Hall of Fame.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Man's trip. Good time, good food, good company. Lots of sports.
Yeah.
DC,
awesome.
When we all went to DC, great time, a whole lot of fun. One of the last big vacations we did, at least while I was there. Then it goes Florida, but it also, it was a great time, but I also got engaged during that trip as well. But outside of that, it was a great time. Honorable mention would be New York City.
I'm having a hard time decipher because I really enjoyed that New York trip we went on, just us 4.
Yeah.
But I won't say that one just because it wasn't the whole family.
Right. You were too young on that first one.
The first one, yeah.
Do you remember that one?
I remember you guys went to a baseball game, I think, and me, Mom, and Callie went to the park.
Yeah.
And I remember Mom let me get a Gatorade, and I was just like, I was amped because we couldn't drink a Gatorade. It was the yellow flavor. And I'm not kidding. Every sip I took, it's probably just some kind of mental trip because I don't know what it was, but every sip I took of that thing, I was like, oh man, I gotta pee. And it was like we even got back to the hotel, and I would just take a sip, and I'd be like, no. And so that's the only thing I remember of that trip. I just had to really go every time, even just the smallest taste of that yellow Gatorade.
Food and drinks always taste better on vacation. Anyway, go ahead.
They do. And Kellen, you mentioned that food on Canton, all that chili. That was pretty bomb. And I think I would enjoy that trip.
Bros.
Yeah, the sandwich place.
Yeah. It's Pittsburgh.
I would probably go with DC though. Even though I love the beach and Disney at Florida, DC was something about that one was really awesome. And we just had that little hotel place. We had about 25 burgers and 25 shakes.
I had a burger every single meal of that trip, actually, outside of breakfast.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was awesome though. I loved that trip. I don't know what it was because at the time I wasn't even like this museum or nerd about history, but it was awesome.
It's cool. That was that vacation where I ate about, I don't know how many hamburgers I had that one night. It was
That one night you had about 17. Yeah.
Nobody could finish theirs.
What about you, Paul?
Awesome. Well, I mean, if you're talking about all of us, it'd be all of them. But I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the Canton one was awesome. The blue ash chili, the Primanti brothers. I don't know what else. I mean, we had the Johnny
Skyline
Rocket
chili.
Skyline chili.
Cincinnati,
Johnny Rocket
right?
out of Cincinnati, yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And then I obviously loved DC. I thought that was really cool. The New York trips, both of them were great. The first one, you guys are so young. I think we need to go back there at some point before everybody gets married. That way, I'm not to pay as much money. But just kidding.
Wait, you said Canton or DC? What did you just say?
New York. I want to go back to New York.
New York.
I want to go. I'll be honest with you. I want to go back to all three. I want to go back to Canton again, to see all that again, see what difference it is. I don't know. I thought the heads, the room that we went into with all the NFL Hall of Fame, heads were pretty cool. But the Florida trip was awesome. We were all there, so I think it was pretty neat. As a kid, though, man, we went to Florida twice, and we went to California twice. Both times in California, we stayed with some cousins, the Foresters, out in La Habra, California. I don't believe they're there anymore. But the ones in Florida are incredible. I told you guys this story before too. Like when as a kid, so a big Tulsa Roughneck soccer player in the North American Soccer League. We were on the East Coast when you were in Florida, so Tulsa would be playing, and Dad would give me a quarter to go get the newspaper to see who won if Tulsa won the day before. Go down there, put the quarter in, come back, look at the paper, and it says it was night game. So basically, I had to wait another day to find out if they won or not. And majority of the time, whenever I did find out, I wanted to know who scored, and there was a lot of times I didn't know who scored. I remember calling a friend of mine and asking him, "Hey, who scored that goal the other night when we played such and such?" And he told me one of the players' names, and I was like, "Huh? Like he finally scored?" But anyway, those are always really, really cool because I know we stayed at some really cool places in Florida as well. And when we were in California, we stayed at our cousin's place. All right. So any big plans coming up this week? Nothing really?
I don't think so. Coach a few soccer games. Should be playing one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have
pretty
you all
excited.
played? Have you scored any?
We tied 0-0. Okay, wait. You want to hear this real quick?
Let's hear it.
You know what it feels like whenever you have a chance to score and you didn't, and then you're just like, it eats you up the next week.
Yeah. Takes you off.
So minute into the game, 60 seconds, we're playing against the best soccer club. They have a lot of guys who are here from different countries, so they're bomb. And a minute in, imagine looking at the goal. So and then you turn around. Okay, so that's where I'm at, on the edge of the box. My buddy sends this ball in from the around midfield, right side of the pitch, curls it into my feet. It's a hard ball to receive. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I had the best touch of my entire life.
Really?
One touch, okay? I'm facing backwards to see the ball. One touch, I get it on the ground and spin, and I'm directly on goal. It looked like I was a robot who practiced that a million times. What stunk, though, is the keeper had great positioning. He stepped up a couple steps. So by the time I turned around, even though it was as best I could do, he had a great position. And he was right there. So I had about probably a quarter second to react. And all I knew is I just wanted to get a shot in, because if I don't shoot it, then there's no chance of it going in. So I just wanted to get a shot in. He was about 2 feet in front of me. Shot it straight at him because I had barely any time to react. And we tied 0-0 against, like I said, the club who's really good at soccer. So I was very, very distraught because holy smokes, what a start that would have been. Because you could already tell we're not the best club at soccer. I've won one game in my 2 years here, and it had to go to penalties for us to win it. And so you could tell at 60 seconds in, first possession, we were the whole team was oh shoot, we have a chance. But I can't imagine what it would have been if I actually scored it. Anyways, long story, but
when y'all won that game and when you had penalties, did you shoot?
Oh yeah, you already know I buried that sucker.
All right, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Is that the game
it
where
was pouring down rain? Yeah, I was about to say it was pouring down rain.
This is like a movie.
Yeah, because I was the other club, they're all a bunch of just being all over serious and You're lined up at midfield. I scored mine, no doubt about it. Ran back. As I was running back, I was kind of running next to their line, and I just looked at him. I was like, let me try to lighten the mood, because at this point, anybody could win. Whether they're mad or happy, it's not going to make a difference,
Sure.
I'm like, man, it feels like a movie, because it's pouring down rain. We got people from both clubs, all these friends watching, and they look at me with this expression of, and I was just like, all right, well, guess I won't be saying that. And then whenever we beat them, there was a couple guys crying, so I felt pretty good. Tears.
They were crying?
Harding intramural soccer. Yeah.
Really?
Who the crap
And they're also like jacked too. So it was just a funny picture that I saw. Like these dudes who probably bench 300.
Was this
I don't know.
Like championship or playoff or like
first round playoffs? We've never won a game, I don't think, in history of the club. I want to say almost.
So you knocked.
The funny thing is, yeah, we knocked them out round one. And what's funny is this season they didn't even show up to A team, and that was our first game. So they just forfeited the entire season.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not actually why, but I'm telling people that it's because we beat them last year, so they're still a little scared. But
yeah, they're worried about it. They're worried about you and everything. Guaranteed.
Oh yeah. Anyways, so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, that's good. Kellen, what do you got going on? Anything?
Chilling.
Well, I've got the NFL draft to look forward to on Thursday night. That's really the main one I focus on. I'll watch a little bit on Friday. Maybe we'll see. So that's about it. Other than fantastic work, but the Foxx Den Sports Podcast would like to thank all of our listeners for taking time out of your day. And we want to encourage everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for listening. But subscribe. Get us some more subscribers. We hit over 12,000 subscribers this past week, so we need even 12,000 more. So help us out. And give us some comments. Give us some comments in the YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook. Give us an email, whatever. The information for all that'll be after we get done here. But I want to remind everybody that iron sharpens iron. Please stay safe, be savage and not average, and remember to join the Skulk. And Kellen, what else?
Stay thirsty, my friends.
That's right. Until next time, everybody. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Foxx Den Sports Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for free to our YouTube channel, Foxx Den Sports. And also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Foxx Den Sports and on Facebook at Foxx Den Sports Podcast. You can also email us at foxdensports@yahoo.com. This has been Foxx Den Sports.